This car has the airbag light on. To read the cause of the airbag light, we need to go with a professional scan tool. Enter the diagnosis, go to the control unit for the body, pick out the ORC, occupant restraint. We read the codes. Right there it tells us P1200, which is the driver's side circuit. And in general, this means that it is the clock spring. The clock spring is inside the steering column, and it's a device that allows electrical contact to be maintained for the airbag and the horn and the steering wheel mounted controls when you turn the steering wheel. Okay, so that's what the clock spring does. And to replace the clock spring, we have to disassemble the steering wheel. So let's go ahead with that. Next, we want to remove the steering wheel cover. It has two bolts, one on each side on the back of the steering wheel. They're 8mm. So I'm just going to use a little ratchet with a 8mm deep socket and get it back here on these bolts. Get them off on both sides. It's a relatively long bolt. It takes a few turns to get it out, but it comes right out. It can help to use a magnet once the bolt is unfastened. With the two bolts out, the cover comes right off, and you can see the wires in the back. The airbag wire can be pried off with a mini screwdriver. Just get behind it, pry it off. With the airbag out of the way, we see that we have this connector back here that just has to be removed like this. And this connects to the two banks of switches on the sides of the steering wheel. So this assembly behind the steering wheel back here, this is the clock spring. And we have to get the steering wheel off in order to replace the clock spring. We're looking at the retaining nut for the steering wheel that we'll have to undo. This bolt takes a 21mm socket, and we're not gonna mess around with it. We're just gonna use a heavy-duty impact wrench to get it off. There it is. We'll spray a little bit of penetrating oil into these splines, and then we'll try wiggling the steering wheel before we resort to using a puller. We are having to use a puller after all. This 2-jaw puller fits right on, and we get it nice and snug so it stays in place. Then we can turn this bolt at the end to pull the steering wheel. So this was just simply not budging with the puller, not one bit. Then I remembered a trick that my uncle taught me when I was little. I wasn't even 9 or 10 years old, and he taught me that if you want to loosen something, tighten it first. So I remembered that. I took this nut, I put it back on, and using the impact wrench, I tightened it. So I pushed the steering wheel down further. And then I put the puller back on, and it came right off. So that's one tip that I want to thank you for, Uncle, wherever you are now. We're almost done. There's just one more thing. We have to disassemble this clamshell, and you'll see why in a minute. But the clamshell has a screw that is up from straight underneath, Phillips head screw. Turn it, it comes apart, and then the clamshell can be snapped apart. Right here you can see that I've pried this clamshell off, you can see the channel for the screw that I was talking about. And just gently pry it off. You can see these tabs. This tab right here holds the clamshell together. So you can just gently pry it with a flat blade. It comes apart. Okay, and the top comes right off. And now you can see the reason we had to do this. We have two Phillips head screws, one here, and the clamshell has to be off to get to these screws. So there you can see the back of the clock spring with the two wire connectors, and these just have quick release tabs like normal connectors. They come right off. They're easy to take off. Okay, this is securely in place. Both screws have been tightened down. So now right before installing the steering wheel, we can pull this pin. So to pull the pin, you have to hold down the face at the same time, and then the pin will come out. Okay, steering wheel is back on. Wires are all through. And note this little arrow down here, it lines up with the embossed arrow. Okay, so we're good to go. There's a embossed arrow that you can barely see right here. Okay, there you can see it. And the arrow on the clock spring lines up with it right there. Back together, getting the two back bolts in is a little bit fidgety, but not too bad. Just have to line them up. And now we're going to go reconnect the battery, turn the ignition, and hope that it doesn't blow. Let's see what happens. Okay, I'm going to put the key in the ignition and turn it. The airbag light does come on. Self-test, and then it goes off. So mission is accomplished. Thank you for watching.